Welcome back to Charge Motion. Also, welcome down to Charge Motion. Down, back.
Down back.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Welcome
name is
to-
Saximus.
My name is Ghoul.
Ghoul, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Pokemon this week.
Yeah, you have. You finally caved.
I finally caved and got it. And
Years of me pestering him to get it, and he finally got it.
I was like holding out for a price drop, and I should know better by now than to wait for price drops on Nintendo products.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just decided to bite the bullet and just grab it. And I've been having fun with it. I've been playing it for 2-3 days now.
You've been playing Garchomp.
I have been playing Garchomp.
Yeah. There really is no wrong character choice. Pokemon is a very balanced game.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way, especially with like the whole rock paper scissors system that it has.
Yeah.
You know, it actually reminds me a lot of the triangle system from DOA.
I don't know enough about DOA to properly comment on that, but
It felt very familiar to that because like in the triangle system, DOA has like a very similar rock paper scissors mechanic where you have a normal attack, a counter, and a throw.
Right.
And throw beats counter, counter beats button, button beats throw.
Okay.
And Pokken works like extremely similarly, where you have normal attacks, then you have the counter attacks, and then you have throws.
Yeah, and then for the purposes of the triangle, blocking also counts as counterattacks.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm very glad you're enjoying one of my favorite fighting games.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. We'll definitely have to get some games in pretty soon.
Yes. So we're just gonna hop right to community news because we just actually, like, literally yesterday we were talking about topics for the show, and we're talking about there's not a whole lot of news going on, and like literally like 2 hours after we had that conversation, news came out. So so if you were around in the FGC last year, you probably remember a lot of stuff that happened during the summer. A lot of it was concentrated in the Smash community with a lot of abuse cases and allegations coming to light. It did not stay in the Smash community, the FGC as a whole, including one of the now former heads of EVO, and EVO Online that year got canceled after a bunch of studios started pulling their games. And we're a little over a year into COVID. By the way, please keep wearing your goddamn masks.
Please.
Get vaccinated if you can.
Get vaccinated as soon as you can.
Yes, I tested negative this week. Go me. And it's been a little over a year since in-person tournaments. I think the last major, at least for Smash, was Frostbite. And I know a lot of us are thinking, man, I wish we could have more big online tournaments. Wish EVO would come back under new management. And the finger on the monkey's paw has curled.
You could call it that, yeah.
Because EVO got bought out by Sony.
By Sony.
By Sony, and I have no idea what to think of it. On the one hand, my anti-capitalist side is like, oh dear God, please no. I want us to remain grassroots. Corporate consolidation bad. No. But on the other hand, like, the FGC has been playing on Sony platforms pretty much ever since Street Fighter V, I think. Like,
yeah.
So Street Fighter V was the big shift. And I know Sony itself had a big hand in that in regards to EVO. Was a big shift because I think a lot of people were playing Ultra Street Fighter 4 on 360, and when Street Fighter 5 was announced to be a PS4 and PC exclusive, everyone switched over.
Yeah.
So, like, I think from a material standpoint, from spectators and fans and players and whatnot, I don't think there's going to be a gigantic difference. I hope not. Although I've heard that EVO has always been a fairly corporate event anyway. I've never been.
Yeah,
I have a chance to go.
I have also never been to EVO in person, but my whole take on the bought out by Sony thing is like, again, the anti-corporate side is like, oh God, no, corporations gaining more power. But the fighting game fan in me is actually a little excited about it because I've been saying for the years that I've been in the FGC now that the FGC needs big name sponsors to put the money into it that other genres are getting.
Yeah, because we were talking about last week, we went off on a tangent how the fighting game with the biggest prize pools in history has been Brawlhalla.
Yeah.
That's because it does have corporate backing, but even before they got bought out by Ubisoft, people were playing it.
Yeah.
And I agree. Hopefully this will bring in more prize money because God knows we need it.
So, and like, EVO isn't grassroots to me anymore.
Not anymore.
It started out that way, no doubt. But you're being hosted in the Mandalay Bay in Vegas. So
and all the big that's where all the big developers would show off trailers and game reveals and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So there was already a lot of corporate money going into EVO. So I don't think that Sony owning it is that much of a huge change.
Yeah.
The one thing that I do want to stress is that Sony and Evo have already made statements regarding that non-Sony platform games will still be welcome at Evo.
Yes. Because I made the mistake of when the news came out of going on Twitter and and looking at threads and quote retweets of a lot of the news announcements and stuff like that. And amongst all of the stuff from people who aren't in the FGC, who either A, don't understand what Evo is, or B, are too obsessed with console war nonsense. I got a lot of people joking, like, oh, this is the end for Smash, it's not going to be an Evo. And no, like Markman has gone out of his way to say that, it's here it is. To quote Mark Julio, Markman, Evo is still open to all platforms. The teams at PlayStation and RTS are enabling us to continue working with our community to support fighting games.
Right. So don't panic if you're a Smash player. Don't panic if you play, non-PlayStation platform games. The biggest one that comes to mind is Killer Instinct.
Oh yeah. Other than Smash, obviously.
Other than Smash, yeah.
Smash, Killer Instinct, and a lot of fighting games have PC audiences, not necessarily on PlayStation.
So Evo Online starts in August this year. They're hosting it this year.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Sony Interactive and Entertainment blog, so I'm just going to quote it here. With the support of world-class publishers, Evo is returning this year as Evo Online, a fully online competition taking place August 6th to 8th and 13th to 15th. Entry will be free, and for players in North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America will be able to compete in Tekken 7, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, and Guilty Gear Strive in an open format.
Yes.
Online qualifiers will be live streamed for fans, and more details will be shared in the coming weeks on evo.gg. And it's important to note what the 4 games that were chosen for this new era of Evo Online.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear Strive and MK11 both have rollback.
Yes.
Street Fighter V and Tekken 7, in addition to being the 2 biggest traditional fighting games right now, their netcode is, I would call, rollback adjacent.
Yeah, they attempted.
They did attempt it. Yeah, they did attempt. And also for the people worrying about Smash, notice that a bunch of games that were supposed to be in Evo last year, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Samurai Showdown, and Soul Calibur 6, at least those first 3 games are infamous for having notoriously bad netcode. They're also on Sony platforms. They're also excluded. So if Smash isn't there, it's probably because the netcode is bad.
Also, I think Tekken 7 is actually the only... Tekken 7 and Guilty Gear Strive are the only games on the 4 that we're getting this year that don't have crossplay.
Yes.
And they're being hosted on PC.
Yeah, I don't think they specified yet which platform Guilty Gear Strive is going to be on, but they did specify that Tekken 7 is going to be on PC, and that Street Fighter V and Mortal Kombat 11 are going to be on PS4/5/PC.
Yes.
And at Strive, they haven't announced.
Oh, actually, I think I read somewhere. I'll try and find the source while we're going forward, but I think Strive is going to be PS4, PS5. Okay.
Yeah, but like Tekken 7 is going to be on PC. So I mean, like I said, I don't really know what to think of this. I'm happy that it gets to live on, under new management. Part of me is, again, the anti-capitalist in me is a little scared, like, oh god, they're gonna try to do more and more all the time, and maybe if it doesn't meet like registration quotas in 3 years, maybe they'll shut it down. Oh god, please no. I want this to remain as grassroots as humanly possible, but like you said, Evo's been a corporate event for a very long time, so I think from a material standpoint, from us as non-developers, non-publishers, non-business people, I don't think too much is going to be different.
Yeah. I think also, like, it's going to be a big shift in... Well, I guess, Evo had, corporate money behind it anyway.
Yeah.
But when I think of an FGC major, like I said, I've never personally been to Evo, but the events that I have been to have a lot of community-provided setups and equipment and monitors and things like that.
And of course, Evo has community-run side tournaments for literally every fighting game you can think of.
Yeah.
So,
what I foresee is now Sony's going to be providing all of that. Fingers crossed, we go back offline in 2022.
Wear your masks.
Wear your masks. Get vaccinated. But But fingers crossed we come back offline in 2022, Sony's going to be providing all of that stuff. So instead of having to worry about, whose setup is being played on, who brought a different monitor that isn't the same monitor you played on before, it's going to bring a lot of uniformity, and it's going to take a lot of pressure off the backs of the community to provide.
Yeah.
At least for, like, the main supported games.
Yeah, we can hope. And I genuinely hope that is the case. It also says in the blog that EVO co-founders Tom and Tony Cannon will remain closely involved in an advisory role to ensure EVO continues to service the fighting game community and support its vibrant growth. I'm happy to see that.
I am too.
That makes me get happy.
The other thing that is really, really important to point out is that Mr. Wizard is no longer involved.
Yes.
He has been ousted from the company, and he is not involved with the EVO brand moving forward.
Yeah.
And we're not paid by EVO to talk about that, so...
I'm pretty sure if we were paid by EVO, we wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because they are still corporate. But yes, it's a new era for EVO, for the FGC. I am apprehensive, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'm also, I'd say that as well. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm excited to sign up and play Strive.
Oh yeah, totally. I still need to get Strive. Assuming my laptop can run Strive, but...
Oh.
Or I can get a PS4 when my stimulus check comes.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Probably going for relatively cheap now that people are probably selling them for PS5s.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's the big headlining news of the week.
Yeah, that was super big. Like literally 2 hours after we were talking about what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
That news hit.
Like, all right, well, there's our first segment.
There
cool.
It is.
Awesome.
Some I don't want to say smaller news because fighting games are important and everything is big.
Yes.
We got Terry.
Terry Bogart in KOF 15.
Terry Bogart.
Surprising nobody.
Surprising no one.
He sure does play like Terry.
Yeah. The last few characters have been pretty predictable ones. Yuri and... Iori and Terry. Mm-hmm. But Terry looks cool. Terry always looks cool.
Yeah.
I like Terry. It looks like he has Power Dunk back, which I don't think he actually had in 14.
Really?
I could be completely wrong about that, and if I am, let me know.
I haven't played enough 14 to properly know one way or another.
But I don't think Terry has Power Dunk in KOF 14, excuse me.
That feels blasphemous. Honestly.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, he didn't have Buster Wolf in KOF 02, so...
Really?
KOF 02 UM, yeah.
How do you have Terry Bogart with no Buster Wolf? It's like having Ryu with no Shinku Hadoken.
Right. No, because Garu came out in 99, and I think Garu was if I'm not mistaken, Garu was the game that introduced Buster Wolf.
Really?
I believe. Yeah, look that up, because I don't want to be talking out of my butt. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I believe that Buster Wolf was new to Garu. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have it in KOF 02. But he has it now in 15, and that's all that's important, because that move alone is what makes me want to play that character.
Yeah. I'm curious. Oh, I actually, going back to the Evo thing, also because Shoryuken.com is...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's down. It's like, if you go to Shoryuken.com, which is like one of the biggest news sources for the FGC...
Yes. That scares me.
Yeah... Says, we are excited to announce the Shoryuken.com and Evo, typo there, it says the Shoryuken and Evo, not that, have become part of a new joint partnership of Sony Interactive Entertainment and RTS.
Was Shoryuken owned by the Evo company?
Yeah, I think it was. You can find more about this announcement at evo.gg. For now, we're suspending the site while we work through what the new partnership means for the future of SRK. Thanks for your understanding and patience.
Okay, so what that tells me is that the Shoryuken website, which has been like the home for fighting game news, is now shut down while Sony figures out what they want to do with it.
I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't know how I feel about this.
I was cautiously optimistic about all the other things we talked about. I'm a little afraid of this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a publisher in Sony to control our news as a community.
I used to get my news from SRK all the time, man.
Yeah. I mean, first the forums closed down a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that was gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, now that the community as a whole has moved to Twitter.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want a publisher to be in charge of our news. And you know, we on this show are always going to do our best to bring news to you guys. But Shoryuken was such a huge hub for everything going on in fighting games that to see it in Sony's pocket is a little, it bothers me.
Yeah.
So I can't confirm anything of what they're going to do, but what I'm afraid of is them, you know, Killer Instinct 2 gets announced, but it doesn't get put up on Shoryuken because it's not on a Sony platform. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the type of thing that bothers me. But maybe that won't happen. I mean, maybe corporations will be nice. I don't know.
Anyway, I mean, like, the site's down. There's really not a whole lot we can speculate on right now.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, you are correct. I didn't know this. The first appearance of Buster Wolf was Garou.
Yeah. Which I believe came out in 1999.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's good. That's very interesting to me. Anyway. So we got Evo. We got Terry. And we also have Tekken.
Tekken stuff. So the new character's name is confirmed.
Yes.
It is not Christina. Her name is Lydia Sobieska.
Prime Minister of Poland.
The Prime Minister of Poland. I believe I pronounced that correctly. It's spelled Sobieska. Mm-hmm. So if someone is Polish and I butchered that name, I'm sorry. We still don't know anything else about her.
But it is rumored, possibly, that we're going to get information about her on this weekend, because there's a tournament.
There is a tournament. The Tekken King of the Hill Finals, hosted by Bandai Namco Esports, are happening this weekend, Sunday, March 21st, at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay. I have the day off. I should probably tune into that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch that. And the Bandai Namco tweet about that tournament features a teaser that says that they might have something special for us.
Yeah, and then Harada himself quote retweeted and said that we should probably tune in. So.
Yeah, so I'm expecting to see a more complete gameplay trailer for Lydia so that we have more information about the type of character that she's going to be and hopefully a release date.
Hopefully a release date. Do you think she's going to be all they're going to show, or do you predict like more Tekken-ish info? Like maybe a hint of the next character?
Maybe a hint of the next character. There might also be... Actually, is there going to be a next character? I think the season pass might only have one more character in it. I could be wrong about that, though. I'd have to look it up. Yeah. But it could be the next character. It could be, a balance patch. I mean, new characters usually drop with balance patches.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But I would be pleasantly surprised if we saw anything more than a trailer for Lydia.
Yeah. I know it's fun to speculate on possible crossover characters, but with Tekken 7, like, you just...
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. Like, they had... I didn't think they were going to have Geese Howard. I didn't think they were going to have Noctis. I never would have guessed Negan from The Walking Dead.
Oh, God. No one would.
Probably because I've never seen The Walking Dead, but that came completely out of left field for me.
Yeah. That's the guest characters in Tekken, it could literally be anybody. Like the door is almost as wide open as Smash at this point.
Yeah.
So it's fun to speculate, but it's not really useful until we have teasers and such.
Arguably more wide open because Negan isn't even from a video game.
I mean, true. Yeah.
Because Sakurai has said that he only includes characters in Smash if they originated from a video game.
Yeah, that's true.
And he specified that, I think, only because people keep requesting Goku for some reason. I hope is a joke. We've been doing it for years and whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, so Lydia information hopefully on Sunday alongside the King of the Hill tournament. Sunday, March 21st, 11 a.m. Pacific. Make sure you catch that if you can.
Should be fun. And speaking of upcoming tournaments this weekend, last week we mentioned the Pokemon Players Cup 3, where Pokemon's going to be back. Yay.
Pokken!
Registration closed this past Tuesday, but the first round... brackets is going this weekend, March 20th. We're going to whittle down to top 16. Weekend after that on the 27th, until top 4 in North America, top 3 in Europe, and then top 1 in Oceania. So if you remember to register, you're better than me. I forgot to register. But best of luck. And if it is streamed, I'll definitely be watching it, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to be able to, getting into the game now, to be able to like have a big tournament to watch.
Yeah, and despite the fact that everyone likes to joke, oh, it's a dead game and it's only on Switch. And first of all, the only true dead game is a game where literally nobody is playing it.
0 players.
If there's at least one person grinding the game's alive. But also, people are still playing Pokken, including me, and I'm really happy that it's still getting publisher support, even if not developer support. But speaking of Pokken and tournaments, Carleton University in Canada has a tournament coming up, an online tournament, free. It's 5 days. It's online, Frostfire. This popped across my Twitter feed and I got super excited. It is April 29th to May 5th. So it's almost an entire week of brackets.
Wow.
They are running Pokemon Tournament Deluxe, Smash Ultimate, Smash Melee, Splatoon 2, and that's all on console. Then on PC, CSGO, Hearthstone Constructed, Hearthstone Battlegrounds, League of Legends, Legend of Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, Valorant, Destiny 2, Rocket League, Rainbow Six Siege, and then for fighting games, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear Rev 2, Guilty Gear Plus R, Melty Blood, Street Fighter 5, and Tekken 7.
Melty Blood.
That's kind of a wacky spread of fighting games.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You have everything from Tekken to Melty.
Yeah.
To Pokken.
To Pokken to 2 different Guilty Gears, yeah.
Yeah, 2 different Guilty Gear games.
Yeah, and then for non-tournament activities, they're running Jackbox, they're running Among Us, so there's going to be a lot to do. It's free, it's online, it's popped across my timeline, and I'm super excited for it.
When is it?
It runs from April 29th to May 5th.
Cool.
Yeah, I trying to see when registration closes. Looks like that information is not up yet, so it should be good.
Frostfire 2021 seems like a good time. I'm definitely gonna look into it.
Yes,
because I'll play some Plus R or something.
Yeah,
or Street Fighter.
I played several of these games.
Yeah.
That should be good. That's all I had. I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to talk about it that I like these long form tournaments.
Yes.
Like the Pokken Masters Cup lasting like multiple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really interesting idea, and I think fighting games should do it more.
Like a week-long event with different events every day. Because
I think that hosting, hundreds of players and whittling it down to top 8 or top 16 in one day is a lot of work. And anybody who's TO'd for majors out there, first of all, thank you, because TOs don't get enough credit.
No, they don't.
And second of all, they know that it's a lot of work trying to run, 40-person pools, 50-person pools. And that's all before you even get to the main stage.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. I do like these long-form tournaments with a lot of different games. But, like you said, they have a lot of... They require a lot of community support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember back when I was competing in Quarantine Report a few weeks ago, all the different games I was in were taking place in completely different Discords with completely different TOs. And it was all Discords and TOs and what have you for that specific community.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult, but when it works so well. And if you're running a long-form tournament or if you're TOing or helping with bracket seeding or whatever, thank you.
Seriously. A lot.
Yeah. And actually, one more tournament. It's not huge, but it's being run by a friend of mine. A friend of mine, their name is Fairs. They live up in Maine. They're hosting a free Skullgirls bracket on March 31st, which is, I believe, a Wednesday at 2:00 p.m.
There's our one obligatory Skullgirls mention per episode.
Our one obligatory Skullgirls mention per episode. It's on the beta, so Annie will be legal.
Sweet.
Free entry. I retweeted it, but if you go to their Twitter account, FairsPlayTTV, again, it's on March 31st. Shout out to Fairs, who's a very good friend of mine. They're really cool. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm definitely gonna take a look because I have been playing more Skullgirls lately, and Annie has really made the game like more exciting for me to play.
Yeah, she's such a good character. One of the things I really like about Annie, and I observe it with a lot of fighting games, is that as newer characters get released, you can basically watch the developers get better at designing characters in real time. Because if you look at Philia is this very basic rushdown. I mean, basic by Skullgirls standards. There are no real basic characters in Skullgirls. But very straightforward character, doesn't have a whole lot of wacky tools, and then more and more characters come out, and he's character number 15, and she's got all these insane tools in her kit. And I love watching fighting games do it. Another fighting game that I was involved in when it was still alive was Icons Combat Arena, if you remember Icons. I was actually a beta tester for Icons, but I still like the game. I still think it's a good game. Rushdown Revolt's fun. Play it. But I remember watching new characters come out, and I could see the developers getting better in real time. It's just a phenomenon I like.
It is a really interesting phenomenon, as like you see. It's really cool to see developers learn things, right? Because like you can even see it like kind of in Tekken. Yeah. Like the launch characters, characters like Devil Jin, the Mishimas, Hwarang, Lily. All of those characters are kind of like what they were in previous Tekken games. Like Tekken games don't change a whole lot from game to game. Yeah. Like if you're within the community, obviously you see a huge difference between Tag 2 and Tekken 7. But outside of like the minutia of like how movement works and like that kind of thing, the Tekken games all stay pretty much the same. Like Tekken 7 was a big jump, but only because it added a lot of mechanics. But as the development process for the game went on and they added more and more DLC characters, you started to see characters making better use of the new mechanics. So you started to see characters like, Akuma's a prime example. Yeah. They retrofitted him to fit into Tekken, and he uses the new mechanics so well. They built him... I say that they built the Power Crush system specifically so that Akuma could have focus attack. Yeah. And they just didn't want Akuma to be the only one who could do it. So they just let him. So they just made it a system-wide mechanic. Yeah. So you see Akuma making use of Power Crush, which is brand new to Tekken. You see him making use of invincibility frames, which is new to Tekken, and still only 2D characters have. You see him making use of meter mechanics, which are new to Tekken. And then, moving further down the lifespan, you see characters like Anna who start using Power Crushes to enforce their mix-ups. And like even Hwarang was designed almost to have Power Crushes in mind. Because like if he didn't have access to these Power Crushes, his mix-up wouldn't be real because you could just jab him out. Yeah, basically. So they've built these things into the characters as the time span went on, and you can see them getting better at, working the systems into the characters in a meaningful way. And I think that's a really cool phenomenon to see. Yeah.
I'm so curious as to what the next 3, possibly 4 characters are going to be. I'm so excited, man.
In Skullgirls, yeah. Yeah, it's... we've sat here on this show and speculated about it before. Yeah. But, it's almost certainly going to be, characters from the Skullgirls lore that didn't become playable.
Yeah, like Umbrella, possibly Stanley. I'd be okay with Stanley, probably Fong. Because there's a lot of characters in Skullgirls lore that aren't playable yet, so... Yeah. Because I know I've mentioned the character ballots and what have you that happened during the crowdfunding campaign, so... Right. No, don't want to tread on old ground.
Yeah, no. But yeah, as far as news goes, that pretty much sums it up. As far as I can tell. I hesitate to call it a slow week because Sony bought Evo. Sony bought Evo. How is that in any way slow? I was disqualified this week to be a slow news week. I don't know what to think of it. So let us know what you think about it. Really, because I want to have this discussion. One of my favorite things to talk about is fighting games and esports.
You can hit us up at Twitter. I'm at 5Axmus because Axmus was taken.
And I'm at XGhoul with a 0 because Ghoul was taken. And you can tweet the show at Charge Motion. Yeah. There's no numbers in that because it wasn't taken.
It wasn't taken, believe it or not. Yeah. Very surprising.
So at Charge Motion, you can talk to us there. The other thing you can do with our Twitter is follow it and use it to submit your clips of the week.
Please do.
Please do.
We want to see you do cool things in fighting games.
We absolutely want that.
Because first of all, we just enjoy it.
Yes.
Second of all, it's more exposure for you. And third of all, we might talk about it on the show.
Yeah. If you submit your clips to us on Twitter at Charge Motion, send us like a Twitch clip or like a link to a YouTube video, or just embed the video into a comment. There is a chance that if we pick your clip, we will watch it on the stream and we will talk about it, and it'll be super rad. But yeah, so definitely do that.
Yes.
So speaking of clip of the week, it's time for this week's.
Yes.
So before we get started, send us your clips on Twitter at Charge Motion. Any fighting game. It doesn't have to be one of the mainstream ones. It can be literally any fighting game, just as long as cool stuff happens. Send it to us.
Yes. If you get it in typically before Thursday, we'll be able to make it on the show, so you have plenty of time. Like literally any moment in the game that you're playing that you think is cool, please send it to us. We want to see it.
Absolutely.
Right. So who sent us their clip for this week?
This clip comes courtesy of my good friend CutCC. He's a relatively well-known content creator in the Tekken community. So we appreciate him over there with like the tutorial content that he makes and like character guides and stuff like that. So I'll link his channel in the description below so that you can check out his stuff. But right now he's not playing Tekken. He's playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. So we're going to check out this clip that he sent, and it's going to be a fun time. So CutCC is currently playing Vegeta.
Super Vegeta.
Yep, so he's Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta, Super Baby 2,
and GT Goku.
And GT Goku is the team right now. So we're just going to let the clip rock and then talk about it.
Good defense, good neutral.
Absolutely. And he called up a super dash with a DP.
And a baby assist.
GT assist to extend the combo.
Then there's level 1.
Into death.
That was more than half a bar.
Yeah.
Half a life bar.
Yes, that's probably like 55%.
This neutral is so good until the Kid Buu player got super impatient and super dashed in, which was one of the big hurdles for low-level Dragon Ball players. And I know that because I am one.
Right.
you don't always want to super dash in. You have other options in neutral.
We'll let it rock one more time so that you guys can see what happens. So DP anti-aired into the assist, conversion, ladder combo, smash down into assist into another ladder combo, into level 1, into death.
Yeah, that was incredible resource management. And he still has 3 bars for when the TN comes in. That's really good.
That was an incredible display of situational awareness, understanding your team.
Yeah, because both the Super Baby and the GT Goku assist were used perfectly in that combo.
Understanding your team, calling out your opponent. Because like if you look at it, he had to call the baby assist before he input the DP.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you look at the clip, baby comes on the screen like almost at the same time that the assist comes out.
Yeah.
See, they're like almost simultaneous. And then the assist allows him to convert into, the extended combo with the beam assist from GT Goku into another ladder combo.
That was super clean.
Into kill. That was a super clean conversion. And
he had to have known that super dash was coming in order to input both the assist and the DP. So
yeah, absolutely.
That
was a really good read that paid off in a huge way.
Yes.
What I'm thinking is, would the assist have made him safe if his DP got blocked?
That's a good question. I actually don't know.
Because that's like an interesting perspective too, is that like if you are playing Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta and Super Baby 2 and you have that assist and then you just input a DP and assist at the same time, are you protecting that DP? I don't know. I'll have to lab that.
Yeah. I would lab that, but I don't have any of the DLC for Dragon Ball FighterZ.
I'll lab it.
Yeah.
But thank you, CutCC, for an excellent clip.
Yes.
That was a round well played. Resources properly managed. and it was all around super fun to watch. So we appreciate that a bunch.
Yes, and you can send us your cool stuff. It doesn't matter what game. We want to see it. Send us your
We
cool
do.
stuff at Charge Motion on Twitter. Still
Yes.
can't believe that name wasn't that handle wasn't taken, but here we are.
We got lucky.
We got lucky, yeah. At Charge Motion on Twitter. Send it. Like I said, till before Thursday, end of the day, and we should be able to get in the show. So please do.
Please do. We want to see your cool clips.
So to wrap up this week, because we're talking about tournaments, and if you're getting into tournaments and you're possibly planning a tournament, it's worth considering at one point what is and isn't considered ban worthy. I know that as someone who's been playing Smash competitively for a few years, I know that Smashers have very strong opinions on this.
So many.
For better or worse. So I just wanted to have a really quick discussion, really quick, about what is and is not considered ban-worthy. So as someone who isn't as into Smash as I am, what do you think?
So for me, something is ban-worthy when it's either functionally broken, like it's not broken as in the buzzword that people use to describe something that they don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it actually does not function as the developers intended it. Or something that completely invalidates certain sections of certain parts of the game.
Right.
Or certain characters. Like, if there's, say, a stage that makes it completely impossible to play a certain character's game plan, which Smash has plenty of those.
Smash has plenty of those, and even more traditional fighting games have that too.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter V, I'm thinking of the beach.
The beach.
Because if you're fighting Jury or Birdie, like, their low projectiles can go in the water on the right side.
Yes.
And of course, Skies of Honor is the worst thing ever. Capcom, please remove Skies of Honor so I don't get it by accident again.
You can set it. You can set your random filter.
Really?
Yeah, to exclude certain stages.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Mine is set to exclude the Flamenco Tavern because that stage is banned.
Right.
The Kanzuki Beach because that stage is banned.
Right.
And Skies of Honor.
That's very good to know. But yes, just like you were saying, if something about the game unfairly, you would say, influences one playstyle over another.
Or if something about the game gives a certain character something unique that only they can do.
Yes.
For instance, Flamenco Tavern allows Vega to climb on the cage.
Which is cool.
Which is a cool feature, like, for casual play. But for competitive, it's now a tool that Vega has access to only on that stage, that no other characters can do, and that he wasn't originally balanced around having.
Exactly. I'm of a very similar opinion, and the YouTube channel My Smash Corner, they talk about mostly Smash Bros, but they dip into other fighting games sometimes. 4 years ago, they did a video on what's ban-worthy, and I very much agree with them, where something is ban-worthy if either A, from a competitive standpoint, the only true counter to that strategy is to use that same strategy, or B, if it negatively impacts tournament logistics, which is a reason why pretty much every fighting game has a timer, because otherwise people would stall forever.
Yep.
It's actually one of the reasons why an in-game timer was added to competitive Pokemon, because one person with a stall team could screw up an entire tournament. Like, it's interesting. I don't know, like, the example I use is interesting that the timer was added in Generation 6, because I'm thinking of a situation where someone would baton pass Ingrain and Aquaring onto a Mega Aggron, which is one of the tankiest Pokemon ever made.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah. But, yes, if it either... if the only true counterplay against it is to use that strategy, making the game not fun, or if it negatively impacts tournament logistics. And there are plenty of characters, especially from older fighting games, that are just so overpowered, like legitimately overpowered, like where the only solution to beat that character is to use that character. Like Super Turbo Akuma is a really infamous example. Pet Shop in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Heritage of the Future is another infamous example. God, I hate Pet Shop so much. He's tiny. He can fly. He's the only character in the game that can fly, and he can just fill the screen with projectiles.
Huh. Yeah, that sounds... Yeah.
Yeah. I think Meta Knight in Smash Brawl is another example because like everything that was busted about the Brawl competitive scene, Meta Knight could take advantage of. But
Right.
personally, that's just me. But I don't know. Like again, I've been playing Smash for a number of years. Smash players can be a little ban happy.
Yeah, they can be.
Yeah. And I have particularly strong opinions on this, largely because I play the Mii's in Smash. I played Mii Gunner in Smash 4. I picked up Mii Brawler towards the end, and now that Mii Sword Fighter is good, I play Mii Sword Fighter 2 in Ultimate. And we it took us until an entirely new game for us to have nice things, man.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where it's like you have to question what makes your game competitive, right? For something like the Mii's.
Now, each Smash game has its own kind of unique gimmick around it, and for Smash 4, it was custom moves.
Yes.
And they were actually legal for like the first 9 months or so that the game was out,
really?
back in late 2014, early 2015. The first Evo that Smash 4 was in, customs were legal. And I can totally understand why we wound up banning customs. From a casual standpoint, they're a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But from a competitive standpoint, they're a nightmare because they violate both rules. Competitively, they're awful because there's so many of them, and a lot of characters had custom moves that were just straight up better than their original moves. Like Pikachu, Donkey Kong, Villager. So many characters had these incredibly amazing custom moves, and logistically, they were a nightmare because they all had to be unlocked manually. And Smash 4 didn't have an in-game shop where you can use the in-game currency that already existed to open them. You had to unlock them through different means. Because the Mii's came with their customs already unlocked, they got banned too. And even in Ultimate, where they are legal competitively, every now and then I see someone like, "Oh, it's not fair that the Mii's have custom moves." Well, you can also make the argument it's not fair that Pokemon Trainer and now Pirate and Mythra can literally change characters mid-game. Or that Shulk can literally change his stats to counterpick mid-game. I don't know, like, nothing's, like, don't punish me because you're too lazy to do your homework.
Right.
That's how I feel about banning stuff. Like, for the Mii's in particular, nothing's stopping you from going into the Games and More menu, making a bunch of Mii's, and seeing what they can do.
Right.
And you know, even in non-Smash games, if a character is very dominant in the meta, like nothing's stopping you from hopping into your particular game's training mode and figuring out everything that character can do, and if your game has a good training mode, figuring out counterplay to it.
Yeah. This is sort of a I have a very similar opinion on that, but coming from fighting games, like traditional fighting games, I should say, we kind of just let things rock.
Yeah.
Like a lot,
which I like.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is the way the game is. Deal with it.
Get good.
Right. Get good. When it comes to banning things, I think that it becomes more important to value the competitive integrity of the game. Especially now that people's livelihoods revolve around these games.
Yeah.
And a broken character could mean the difference between someone getting a paycheck and not, which has never been a problem. Has never been a problem before. I wouldn't say it's a problem now because if you choose to live your life that way, then that's what you deal with. But that's never been a thing before. And so it's more important now to make your games balanced and play well than it ever has been. Coming off the backs of Tekken Season 3, there's a lot of discussions to be had about what makes a character broken. Because we did have Leroy.
Yeah.
And now Fakumram is having a very similar effect on the meta. At Evo Japan, there were 6 Leroys in top 8.
Yeah.
So
I'm having Smash 4 flashbacks with Bayonetta and Cloud, but continue.
So it's one of those things that, like, I have mixed feelings about it because it's easy to look at that and say, 6 out of 8 characters in top 8 are this character. That character's broken. We should ban them.
Right.
But on the other side of that coin, it could just be that no one wanted to learn how to counterplay the character.
Yeah.
Um,
And I believe me, I know how frustrating it is. I know it feels unfair to grind, and then you come across a character in bracket that no matter how many times you practice against it, it feels like you still can't beat that character or that strategy. It's frustrating.
yeah.
But again, don't punish them because you don't want to do your homework.
Right.
And even if you did do your homework, you might lose.
Yeah.
Welcome to fighting games.
Yeah. In the case of Leroy in particular, like pre-patch Leroy was abnormally powerful.
Yeah.
Was the only way to beat Leroy to pick Leroy? That's debatable.
Yeah.
I guess I'm technically not qualified to answer that because I'm not a professional player, and I didn't play any Leroy players who used him at, the highest level of the game.
Yeah.
So, I guess from an objective standpoint, I'm not good enough to say that it was possible to beat pre-patch Leroy without picking him yourself. From a subjective standpoint, as a fan of the game and someone who spent a lot of time in the lab and practicing on how to deal with certain things, I think it was definitely possible to beat a Leroy that's as good as you. But you definitely had to work harder. So I think the results of that Evo Japan top 8 where there's 6 Leroys, I think that wasn't so much we can't win unless we pick this character.
Yeah.
And it was more we're going to have a much easier time winning with this character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's not so much those players needed to pick Leroy. It's that they wanted to pick Leroy so that they could have, the best tools available to them. Which as a competitive person I appreciate. Like it's obvious to want to equip yourself with the best tools possible. Sanford Kelly said it best. Pick a top tier.
Yeah.
If you want to win, just pick a top tier.
Yeah.
And I joke about it all the time, but it's in certain ways it's true. But should we ban top tiers? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think if you're just doing like a tournament for fun, like where only low tiers are allowed, I think that could be a lot of fun. But for fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm curious as to how the Dragon Ball FighterZ community is gonna react to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, seeing as how he has an instant kill.
Yeah.
But considering how creative at least a lot of good DBZ players that I know are, I believe in you guys. You guys got this.
I think that the good Dragon Ball FighterZ players will be able to figure out counterplay to that character.
Yeah.
I'm confident that in that. Do I know how it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I don't play Dragon Ball FighterZ nearly as much as I should. But I have full faith in the community that they're going to figure out a way around that character. It just feels super strong right now because it's super new.
That's true. Character is very new. So it's going to be an adjustment period. I do want to take the opportunity to talk about one specific scene that I think does banning very wrong, and that's the competitive Pokemon scene. And I don't mean VGC. As someone who is into competitive Pokemon, let me hear your opinions first.
So the official Pokemon tournaments, like the ones that are hosted by
TCPI,
by TCPI, run the VGC format, which is a doubles format.
Take 6, pick 4.
Take 6, pick 4. You usually have some sort of format involved. So like you can pick Pokemon usually from the region of the most current game, and maybe from whatever national decks they put in that game.
Yeah, because I remember, at least back in Sun and Moon, like there was one year where only Alolan Dex Pokemon were allowed, and then as years go on, they opened it to National Dex Pokemon.
Yes.
And they also have restricted Pokemon, which are typically box legendaries, where you can only have a certain number of restricted Pokemon on your team.
And that I'm okay with. That doesn't bother me, restricting the box legendaries, because they are intentionally designed to be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
For the sake of the story and the game. So I'm okay with that. What bothers me is, well, I'm just going to come out and say it, Smogon. Smogon gets under my skin a lot.
Yeah, you've ranted me about this before. But
because Smogon, whatever committee runs Smogon and makes decisions about those things, it feels a lot like, this is really annoying, so we're not going to let you use it. Instead of, I'm going to take the time to learn how to deal with that, or, you know, put counterplay in my team. Like, things like the status clauses really bother me.
Really? Like, you like having your entire team put to sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if I have a feeling that might happen, and if I'm a strong player, I'd be aware of that in the meta and do something about it on my team.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
All right.
Also, in most competitive formats, the amount of sleep that you're able to inflict at once is usually like relatively low.
Right.
Especially since most sleep moves usually have low accuracy, unless you're running like a Butterfree or something.
Or, well, Spore,
right?
Amoonguss, Sprayloom. But anyway, yeah, continue.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I primarily play doubles.
Yeah.
And maybe it's more of a problem in singles that I don't really understand. I don't want to dig even more deeply into Pokemon because this is a fighting game podcast.
Yes.
But so the bottom line that I want to get to is I don't like it when people ban things because they're annoying.
Okay. That is a valid stance to have.
Yeah.
And one that I agree with.
I should have gotten there much faster. I should have made that point much sooner. But I don't like it when people ban things because they don't feel like dealing with it.
Yeah.
I agree with bans when it's either impossible to deal with it and has been, you know, widely agreed upon that it's impossible to deal with it, or when the only way to deal with it is to use it. That's what I think is ban worthy.
Yeah. Super Turbo Akuma, Pet Shop, possibly Meta Knight, Brawl, stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
Do your homework, hit the lab, get good.
Yeah.
You're going to lose sometimes.
That's the bottom line.
Going to be frustrating. Welcome to fighting games.
Yeah. Stuff like Street Fighter V Seth. Like, Seth was really, really strong.
Yeah.
But not strong enough to ban.
No.
Like, you can still beat the character with a different character.
And I'm sure the same thing's going to happen with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my bottom line, is if something annoys you, lab it. Do your homework. Figure out how to beat the things that bother you, because that's how you're going to become a better player.
Yeah. And most good fighting games have training modes where you can record inputs for specific characters. So if a specific character is doing something that you have no idea how to deal with, go into training mode, have that character do that thing, and just have it do it over and over again until you figure out how to beat it.
Correct.
Like I said, most good games give you the tools to deal with the stuff that ails you.
And you can always look it up online. There's plenty of guides and tutorials and other people playing the game to talk to.
Go on Twitter. Go on your particular game's Discord.
And just find the information, because that's half of playing fighting games.
Yeah.
Is learning how to deal with stuff. And yeah, that's the bottom line, really.
And I think that's pretty much all we have for this week. Remember to send us your clip of the week at Charge Motion on Twitter.
Yes, do that.
You can also follow us on Twitter at 5Aximus, because Saximus was taken.
At XGhoul with a 0, because Ghoul was taken.
And we'll see you next week. Good fight, good night.